Namaste, this is Swapna Patron is joining the nationwide digital campaign Speaker for Democracy launched by the All India Congress Committee. Indian democracy, which is the world's largest democracy, has been blatantly massacred by the BJP ever since it came into power in the year 2014. The power-hungry BJP has been subverting democracy by trying to convert its image from a minority party to that of a majority party using its various machinations such as forging alliances with the local small parties, and secondly by engineering defections of MLAs from the major ruling parties by promising them exuberant amounts of money. I would like to substantiate my point using data. I've written down some data which I would like to share with you. I would like to explain as to how in various states such as Goa, Meghalaya, Manipur, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, and the recent Rajasthan, how the BJP has been trying to subvert democracy, how it has been trying to topple the democratically elected government using various machinations such as forging alliances with the small local parties and also by defecting MLAs from the ruling parties. So let me just first start off with Goa. Goa went into the assembly polls in the year 2017. Goa has a 40-member legislative assembly. Congress emerged as the single largest party in the state with 17 seats. BJP was the second largest party in the state with 13 seats. However, Congress was unable to form the government even though it was the single largest party because the BJP forged an alliance with the regional parties such as the Maharashtravadi Gomantak Party and the Goa Forward Party. Next, I move on to Manipur. Manipur also went into the assembly polls in 2017, just like Goa. Manipur has a 60-member legislative assembly. Congress emerged as the single largest party in the state with 28 seats. BJP was the second largest party with 21 seats. Here also, the Congress was unable to form the government even though it was the single largest party because the BJP forged alliance with the regional parties in the state, such as the National People's Party, which is NPP. Next, I move on to Meghalaya, which went into assembly polls in the year 2018. Congress was the single largest party with 21 seats in the 60-member legislative assembly. This is where you need to understand that BJP got only 2 seats. In spite of that, it was able to form a government with the help of National People's Party, which was the second largest party in the state with 19 seats. So in these 3 states, such as Goa, Manipur and Meghalaya, the BJP has been resorting to a tactic of forging alliances with the small local parties so as to form its autocratic governments and its fascist governments in these states. Next, I move on to Karnataka. Karnataka went into assembly polls in the year 2018, just like Meghalaya, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Karnataka, with the help of JDS, which is Janata Secular, Congress was able to form an alliance government. However, this government could not sustain beyond an year. In the year 2019, the BJP captured power. It was able to topple the democratically elected government. 16 MLAs from the JDS and the Congress had resigned. At the same time, 2 independent MLAs had also resigned, as a result of which the JDS Congress combined was unable to prove its majority in the floor test. This is how the BJP was able to topple the democratically elected government and subvert democracy in the state of Karnataka. Next, I move on to Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh has a 230-member legislative assembly. Congress emerged as the single largest party in the state with 114 seats. With the help of 2 BSP MLAs, 1 SP MLA and 4 independent MLAs, the Congress under the Chief Ministership of Kamal Nath was able to form a government in the year 2018. The BJP was the second largest party with 109 seats. However, 22 MLAs had defected from the Congress and had joined the BJP under the leadership of Sri Jyotiraditya Scindia. I do not want to discuss further on that issue. Next, I move on to Rajasthan. Rajasthan is where the high voltage drama is happening. Rajasthan has a 200-member legislative assembly. Congress is the single largest party in the state. It was in the year 2018 that the assembly polls were being conducted in the state, which has 8 crore population. Congress had 100 seats at the time of the assembly polls in 2018, but now it has 107 seats, wherein 6 members from the BSP had joined the Congress last year in 2019, and in a by-poll election in Mandava constituency, Congress was able to emerge victorious, as a result of which one more seat was added. So total 107 seats the Congress has, including all the MLAs, which are trying to defect from the Congress. Since the matter is sub judice, I do not want to discuss further on it, but through this social media platform, I would like to express my solidarity with the Congress workers and the Congress leaders in Rajasthan. I would like to express my solidarity and support to the Congress government under the Chief Ministership of Sri Ashok Gehlot ji. I appeal to the Governor of Rajasthan to convene an assembly session at the earliest possible, so that Sri Ashok Gehlot ji and his government can prove their majority in the floor test. Friends, the BJP, ever since it came into power, has been trying to increase or capture power by any means. When the BJP is a power-hungry party on the one side, the RSS is an outfit of the BJP, which is trying to subvert democracy, is trying to distort the Indian constitution, is trying to rewrite the Indian constitution, and trying to convert the Indian secular state into a monolithic state. It is RSS is in fact trying to mold the state, this Indian state. It's trying to convert this Indian state into a monolithic country. It is trying to fulfill its motto of one nation, one culture. Since the BJP came into power in 2014, it was run under pretense, the first tenure was run under pretense of growth and development. This was in fact a cover-up of the government, so that there will not be any backlash for the government. There might be a backlash. They were fearing that there might be a backlash if the BJP tries to show its true colors of communal agenda. So it had tried to cover up with the pretense of growth and development during its first tenure. During its second tenure, which started in 2019, last year, its true colors started coming out. It first started with criminalization of Muslim husbands, which the husbands which are actually abandoning their wives without divorce. Doesn't this happen in other communities as well? Doesn't it happen in the majority communities in India? Why aren't those husbands being criminalized on similar grounds? Why only a special community is being targeted? This shows the communal agenda of the BJP. After this came the scrapping of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. As per Article 370 of the Indian Constitution, Jammu and Kashmir had been given special status. However, BJP came into power in the second tenure and it scrapped Article 370. After which, the local leaders in the valley had been arrested, and there was a communication blockade in the entire valley, which was not restored for the last 6 months. Even now, it is only partially restored. Next came the CAA, which is the Citizenship Amendment Act. The Citizenship Amendment Act was in fact a ploy by the government. It was in fact a divisive method by the government to polarize the Indian society in the name of religion. After the CAA was the National Citizens Register, which has been temporarily put on hold because there was a major public opinion against it. After National Citizen Register, there was a major communal violence in Delhi. before the COVID emerged. The communal violence in Delhi was in fact started to break the resolve of the anti-CAA movement. All this show the true communal agenda of the BJP. All this show how it has been trying to subvert the Indian democracy, how it has been subvert the secularism, which has been the secularistic ideology or the secularistic values which the Indian constitution has granted to its citizens. Time and again, BJP has been trying to undermine the democratic institutions of this country. The democratic institutions of this country has been created to serve as a means. It has been used or it has been created to serve as a means to create checks and balances on the power of the executive. The democratic institutions like the Reserve Bank of India, the Central Vigilance Commission, the Central Bureau of Investigation, the Central Election Commission have all been undermined. The democratic institutions such as the judiciary, the independence of the judiciary has also been undermined to such an extent wherein the Supreme Court has also been made as a puppet in the hands of the central government. Sorry to say this. The legislative system, the legislative process in the country has been weakened. The parliament and its standing committees are not functional anymore. In the midst of the COVID-19, we can see that in BJP ruled states, ordinances are being passed so as to subvert the labor laws. For example, the Minimum Wages Act has been put on hold or temporarily been suspended for next 3 years. So these are the instances which are happening in the country wherein Indian democracy has been made a mockery. I appeal to all the democratic minded citizens of this nation to raise your voice, against this fascist and autocratic government. Let us stand united because amidst the COVID and the floundering economy, Indian democracy will not remain the same. It is going to face more dangers. It is going to be in more peril. Let us not have a hostile diplomacy. Let us stand for real democracy. Let us fight for a democratic right. Be it from the south, be it from the north, be it from the west, be it from the northeast. Let us all be united. Let us not allow the blatant killing of democracy in this nation. I appeal to all of you. Raise your voice, raise your concerns. Let us not allow the Saffron Party to subvert and to sabotage our democratic rights. Thank you all for patiently listening to me. Jai Hind.